Um,
Hello.
in terms of the first game, I feel like everyone just assumes there's going to be a lot of energy because it's the first game. People want to get back to basketball, all of the things that surround that. How do you then keep that level of energy to the second and the third? And then once the games, it starts to feel more like you're back into that groove of basketball.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much today was maybe a little fatigue. And then also, we just really tried to talk to our kids about, just because we feel like we played pretty well the first game and everybody's excited about it, like you can't take that for granted and start being complacent. And I think it's really early to be complacent, but at the same time, I do think your mind kind of tends to go, oh, good, okay, we're going to be okay, we're going to be pretty good. And then you don't take care of details. I felt like our kids wanted to get off to a quick start again, and so they were pulling the trigger really quick, and it wasn't going down for us, and so it just started really making us struggle offensively to get into a groove.
Obviously, in your perfect world, you'd want to have that perfect intensity every single game, but
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a nice wake up moment to have on tape to show them.
Well, I do think that they will see a lot of things from the film. I think they'll see our hurried shots, our quick shots in the offense that weren't great shots, and especially when they're not going down. I think they'll see, like Vivian said, even some body language stuff where because they got down on themselves, and so it just appears, that they are down on everything. And so we really talked about that, and I think it'll be good for them to see that. And then, yeah, just their energy. I mean, we just talked about, they're entertainers, and you have to entertain. And entertain is high energy, having fun, moving the basketball, making great plays. But that all comes from your energy, and we will definitely have to work on that. But again, I don't think that I think they are having fun. I think they're playing hard, and it's a lot. Like they're trying to process a lot of new stuff in their heads while we're trying to play. But yet also, I think that's kind of fatigued too. We're playing with a really short roster right now, and it's a lot of minutes early, and it's hard to be intense for 80 minutes in the span of 3 or 4 days.
Two more for you from me. First one, how many 4-point quarters have you had in terms of holding opposing teams to that sort of shoot?
To be quite honest, I've actually probably had more than you would think, just because we do pride ourselves in being a defensive coaching staff and having that type of philosophy. So, I mean, we were fortunate in this game to be able to do that because that actually was the difference, in the game. And if we don't do that, we're going down to the wire with them. So, I hope that we can pull out a few more like that. I hope that we have that defensive mentality and that lockdown mentality to be able to hold people to some really dismal quarters, because when that happens, it does grow your lead and it gives you a little bit of breathing room.
And then what does Chrislyn do so well that allows her to have a double-digit rebound game when she's maybe not the tallest person on the court?
Well, her athleticism does not hurt, right? She can definitely jump and run with the best of them. But I think in this particular game, it was because they were trying to exploit her a little bit with her size and trying to post her up and put her in help for their post players, so we weren't as big in help. And so it allowed her to be in the paint when the ball was shot. And she can get up, I think she can get up. I thought our other kids did a pretty good job of blocking out, so she was able to go get the basketball. That is a very impressive stat, especially when you're 5'6".
Coach, I know everyone's been kind of talking to you about the second quarter, 17-5. Obviously, that does change a few things. But from that third and fourth quarter, what were some things that you kind of, I guess, emphasized with your team? Because Houston Baptist was able to kind of get within single digits before y'all kind of had to rally and kind of push them away.
Yeah, I think that, we just didn't. I think a lot of it had to do with intensity. A lot of it might have had to do with some lineups that I had on the floor, just, of trying to find the right feel to get us in an offensive flow. I think that Houston Baptist did a good job of playing kind of fearless. I thought that they stepped behind some ball screens and shot the three well. I thought they attacked the basket and got a couple of and ones that were unfortunate for us when I thought we played pretty good defense and we were in pretty good position. So they just made some plays. But I felt like in the fourth quarter especially, we executed. I thought we came down and maybe 3 possessions in a row, really executed and got high percentage shots and knocked them down. And then we're able to grow that lead back up a little bit.
I know you mentioned being shorthanded. I guess how difficult has it been just as a coaching staff to try and manage those minutes, especially, if maybe someone gets in foul trouble or something like that. And I guess how have you kind of seen some of the girls like a Chrislyn or Alexi or even Vivian kind of handle maybe 30 plus minutes, at least for the first 2 games?
Yeah, I actually think they've handled it really well, and I think it's definitely helping us get into shape a little bit quicker too. Sometimes you have to just play yourself into shape, and I think that's helping us. I didn't intend for Vivian to necessarily play 40, so that must mean that she handled it well, because I did never think that she was dying and needed a break. So, I think that she did that really well. It is a little bit difficult to manage just because of positioning, and just different matchups and things like that. Like, we're missing some size and some post kids that we should get back pretty soon. That'll definitely help our rotation. It'll help, having Drea to be able to come in the game and kind of loosen up the inside by knocking down the shot. I mean, she can really shoot the 3. So when we get everybody back and healthy and ready to go, I do think, that's going to change our tempo and our energy level for 40 minutes.
Anything else for Coach?
Coach, obviously it's, just game 2 for you guys, but how important is it to have, sort of a game like this where they experience things like that, where a team is going to compete against them, but also to show themselves that they're capable of doing something like this, when their shot's not falling, play that defense to really get those stops to transition into winning the game?
That's a huge point right there. I mean, I think they do have to realize that when the shot's not falling, they can't panic. They can't, start taking even quicker shots. They've got to really lock down and be disciplined and execute and help each other score. They've got to maybe turn down an early shot that they normally would take when they're feeling it a little bit to be able to get a better shot. And then they've got to continue to guard. I mean, when you're not knocking down shots and your offense isn't flowing, you've got to keep defending to be able to hold people at bay until you kind of figure it out. And I thought one of the things we did really well today was get to the free throw line. I mean, we got there 26 times and through some pretty physical contact and then knocked it down as well. So the fact that we were successful at the free throw line really helped as well. So I think at this point, you're just trying to look at whatever type of adversity that comes your way, of how can you handle it, how do you respond to it, that's going to prepare you for conference play. Because when you get into conference play, you're going to run into a lot of different scenarios. And I think just the more that we can have and the more situations that we can work through in our non-conference play, the better prepared we're going to be in the Big 12.
And then what was it like for you to, be able to see Brannon make her first points as a Lady Raider?
Hey, she knocked down 2 free throws in the first game. But it was nice for me to see her, for the ball to go in the basket for her, because I think there's probably a little more pressure on her than I really give her credit for. And it was nice to be able to see the ball go through the hoop for sure.
What point does, mom sort of take over when you're watching her in games like this?
Oh no, I'm all about game time right now. I mean, she'll tell you the first turnover she had, I blistered her pretty good, and that is 100% Coach Gerlich right there. So.
Eric, last one.
Coach, you mentioned adversity and fatigue and a lot that you want to get in this non-conference schedule. How much are you going to find out about your team against a Power 5 opponent in your 3rd game in, a week?
Yeah, and on the road, and I don't think they're having fans, so I think there's going to be a lot of adversity that we could use as excuses going into that if we aren't ready to play. But I think this team is ready for that challenge. I think they're ready to go into battle. I'm excited to see them play in that type of environment because I think it is going to be a good challenge for us. We need to be able to play on the road really well as a team. We'll have to be able to stick together when we're the only ones there, supporting one another and encouraging one another. And then we're going to have to battle through some adversity early in the game because we're not going to have a great scout on Vanderbilt because they haven't played any games yet. So it's not like we can see, what 5 they're going to put on the floor, what offense they're going to run. And we can look at as much tape as we can, from last year, but that's not going to do us a whole lot of good. So it's going to be a big test, a real big test, but we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Chrislyn, what's your advice for the key to getting double-digit rebounds as a point guard?
I would just say you have to work hard every play. it all comes down to toughness and who wants it more. So really just working hard.
Vivian, for you, as someone who's just kind of a natural scorer, how has the process been in terms of, getting your teammates involved and working and finding your times to score in the flow of the offense, if it's maybe a little bit different than what you were used to at Oklahoma State?
Honestly, it hasn't been that hard just because everyone on the team can score. So whoever's open can knock down the shot. So I don't really think it was that difficult of an acclimation to get to know these players. They're easy to play with, so.
And then for both of you guys, that second quarter, what's it like to be in a defensive groove like that? Because they make the first shot, and then from that point on, it's just kind of a defensive masterpiece.
We just had to buckle down, honestly. I think we were a little bit lax at times on defense. And then once we got our tempo up, got our energy up, then we buckled down.
Yeah, I would just say it came down to who wanted more. I think we wanted more, and we increased our intensity on defense, and we just played hard.
Carlos, I see your hand up.
I can't.
Drake, did you still have a question? No. Anybody else? Oh, Ronald?
Hey, Harry, do we raise our hands or something? I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. It just said that you had your hand raised. So we'll go to Ronald.
Okay. Well, Chrislyn, I guess Eric already talked about it with the second quarter. I know, like you said, you felt like you guys kind of had to step up or step in on defense. I guess what did you feel you all did differently, minus kind of putting your intensity up? Was there something that kind of allowed you all to kind of maybe prey on some of their defensive turnovers and kind of turn them into points?
I would just say that it really came down to how we wanted to play them, and we didn't want them to keep scoring the same way, so we had to change it somehow and just increase our intensity, like I said to Eric.
I think we kind of had to follow the scout a little bit better at times, that we forgot what the scout was and what our goals were for the game were. But Coach got on to us, and we got onto ourselves and picked it up.
Vivian, in terms of what you were able to do, you were one rebound short of a double-double. I guess was rebounding one of those things that was on the scout? And I guess how do you kind of feel the guards and just you yourself kind of stepped in and ensured that defensive possessions were short, and obviously you guys were trying to get extra possessions on offense?
Well, rebound-wise, my whole career I've needed to get more rebounds. So that's definitely a goal for me this year. I don't think that I rebounded as much as I needed to. Again, Coach got on to me for that as well. But as far as defense, we just needed to buckle down a little bit harder. We didn't have our energy up at the beginning of the game, and I think that kind of brought us down in the first quarter, and our offense didn't translate to defense well, so getting second chance opportunities on the boards were important, and getting to the free throw line.
And I know we kind of focused on the second quarter, but I guess what do you feel you all kind of took away from the third and the fourth, where it seemed like they were getting close and they got within single digits, but then you all were able to kind of pull away again and kind of show some resilience in those last two quarters there?
I think experiences like that are important for a new team, new coach, new everything. I think it shows that we really wanted to win since we held them off and kept playing hard. It's just something we need to work on. We can't let teams get back into the game, especially when we get into conference.
I would say I think we did a better job of executing on offense and then getting stops on defense, and that created a lot more opportunities for both of us on both sides of the court.
Ron, did you have
Last
something?
one for me, Vivian. I guess just in that second quarter, I know everyone's going to talk about you guys holding them to 5 points, but what did you feel you had to do on offense to kind of get everyone kind of going, because you had 6 points in that second quarter?
I think that in the first quarter we were kind of struggling sharing the ball, getting reversals, things like that. And it wasn't a selfish thing. It was just nerves, jitters, and especially in the first quarter. So once we started moving the ball